Well, yeah, Shatter Spleen is pretty rough with any sort of thing. Verdun. Sold! I'm playing it already. And maybe I'll ask him to switch. How can I do this? I think I'll go Gunner. I think that's what I'll do. I go Gunner. The Chaos or Spite? I thought it was Spite. It would be with Chaos because of the friendly fire. Spite is just bombs. Shatter Spleen wouldn't affect bombs. Oh, I was doing so well right there. Tell me a story. I have a good one. So, there's two things I have to tell you. I started thinking about stories in advance. I'm getting smart. So there's two things I need to let you know before this happens. So the first thing is that I was much younger, like a much younger age at the time. So I was a little bit immature and really weird about the whole situation. And the second thing is that I'm gonna use the word gay, but not in like a mean manner, it's in a descriptive manner. So I was working at this kitchen, and it was at a kitchen where everything there was just crazy. Like, it was the first kitchen I worked at, and it was definitely by far the worst kitchen I've ever worked in. So they had cockroach problems, the kitchen wasn't even making money, the chef was super shady, and like it was just a bad situation for the business. And I honestly don't even know. Like, I know why they hired me, because I was a great cook. But like there were times where my chef needed days off, so I would work 3 days, 16-hour shifts in a row. And one of those times, I was even going into the freezer to cry because I could not handle it anymore. Because I was like, I don't even think I was 19 at the time. I think I was 18. So like, I didn't even know. I'm like, if this is kitchen working, I want none of it. But anyways, so I'm gonna tell you a bit of a side story first, because I think that this part's really crazy. It kind of makes you understand how the kitchen works. So I said we had a cockroach problem, right? Oh, also the bar was haunted. Like, you could hear the ghost, and the ghost would screw with your stuff, and like, that's the first time that I realized, oh shoot, maybe ghosts are real. But so we had a cockroach problem, right? There's a lot of things weird with this. Anyways, this cockroach problem, I found out about it because no one told me when I started working there. Who would tell you about a cockroach problem, right? So I was working online one day, and I was in front of the, like, you know, the line. So like the cold side, it had like all the lettuces and different vegetables that you put on to like eat the pastas or mix in with different dishes. And the way I found out was I was just chilling there vibing, just about to start making something, and something falls into my lettuce. I'm like, oh, what is that? So I go in there, I'm like, I wonder what that was, and I go and I find it, and it was a fucking cockroach that fell from the shelves above my line into the lettuce. So as a, you know, a proper person would do, I just threw out all the lettuce and put a new batch of lettuce in and kept working. And I brought it up to my chef. I'm like, yo, what is this? That can't be happening. That's like very illegal. And he's like, oh yeah, just try to make sure you catch them when it happens. And I'm like, what do you mean catch them when it happens? He's like, oh, it happens from time to time. You know, you just have to make sure they don't get into the food. I'm like, what? So, anyways, I continue working and everything. I kind of like figured out a way to make it so that didn't happen. You know, like always close it when I wasn't there. I always went up and wiped the shelves every single shift, and like before, during, and after work a bunch of times. It never happened to me again. But so one day I'm working there, and he's like, all right, Sam, we have to do something today. We're on a mission. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do we have to do? It's like, okay, we have to deal with this cockroach infestation. Like, I found out where they are, I found out where they're living, and we have to kill them all. I'm like, okay, so how are we gonna do that? Like, well, what we're gonna do is we're going to pull them down off of where they are, and then I'm gonna take you, and you're going to kill them, because I can't deal with bugs. I hate bugs. I'm like, seriously? So you're making me do this shit? So anyways, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Whatever. It's just cockroaches. It's not that bad. So, did you cry? No. I was just freaking out. I only cried once because I was working 3 16-hour shifts in a row. But, so, anyways, I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. He told me the plan and everything. And then I'm like, all right, so where are they? He's like, oh, they're living on the top shelf underneath these milk crates. I'm like, what? Well, and then, you know, in my head, I'm like, this suddenly makes so much sense why they're getting into, like, all the food and the line and everything. I'm like, okay, all right. So he says, so all you gotta do is pull that box, or all I'm gonna do is pull that box down for you, and you just have to kill them all. And I shit you not. If you've ever seen a horror movie where somebody like touches something the wrong way or moves something the wrong way, and then just from like some sort of object, bugs go everywhere, that's exactly what it was like. He pulled it down, and it was like, boom! And then he started spraying it with the thing real quick, and he's just like, okay, your turn. And I'd start walking over to go help him, and just as I'm starting to walk over, it was like thousands, like just like out from this milk crate. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? What is this? And he's like, oh, dude, I'm out. And he just leaves out of the kitchen. So I'm just standing there, like trying to spray them all, jumping on some of them, and getting them all, like, you know, killing them with a spray, like a dead or a bug spray. So after that, that horrible craziness, we had a health inspection the next day, which he didn't tell me about. But then, you know, once he said, oh, we have a health inspection today, I'm like, oh, okay, makes a lot of sense. But yeah, so that's probably why I'm desensitized to bugs, and also, you know, just any sort of filth in a kitchen. I still have pictures on my phone about this kitchen because I keep them as reference to show people. But like, it was horrible. Like, we used to not change our oil for like weeks because I didn't know how to, and he wouldn't show me how to. And then anyways, So after that, you know, that whole thing, there was a cool dude who used to sit at the bar all the time because I turned 19 while I was working there. So I turned 19, and then I started drinking a lot after work, as one does at a bar. And it was pretty chill. It was just like, okay, cool. I have a few beers after work, maybe get to know the customers a bit, and then oh, I need to stab this guy. Oh, yes, that felt very good. And then, you know, hang out, and then sometimes I'd play pool with them, or they'd buy me drinks because they're like, oh, you're the cook. And then they'd be like, hey, can you go make me wings? And I'd be like, yeah, I got you. And, you know, because I was practically the sous chef after a point. And then there was this guy there who used to come in almost every day. And I thought he was really, really cool. Like, the stories he had to tell, the things that he talked about. He was around my age too. We used to go out drinking to, like, not at the bar and stuff every now and then. So he's like, hey, I'm looking for, like, a second job that I can pick up that's not too hard. I was thinking maybe I can work here. I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll give you like, the good reference with the bosses and everything. You seem like a pretty good fellow. I mean, I know you don't know how to work in a kitchen, but I know you're a hard worker. I get him into this, you know, into the kitchen environment, and, you know, he's horrible. Let's be honest, he was trash. But we really needed his help, so I was like, cool, this is working. Everything's fine. And then, so I started hanging out with him a lot, and he realized he, like, I guess he hung out with some sort of mob group that was in town. Like, I don't know. Anyways, so I started, and also with my chef being shady, and I started hanging out at the bar, so I knew all the shady people at the bar. I started learning a lot of really interesting things at a young age, like how certain operations would have worked and such. I never got into it because, you know, I'm smart. But it was just like, whoa, this is all crazy. But anyways, other than that, he was actually a really cool guy. He was like an IT guy and stuff. He had a whole bunch of money. He just wanted a second job because he was bored. And like, he was just a chill dude. Second. This is a lot of action. No, you don't. No, you don't. And then, after I started hanging out with him a little while, we went drinking one night, and I was like, hey, yeah, let's go to this bar, and we ended up staying out until like 4 in the morning. And I think he was driving that night, or it might have been me, but we sat somewhere, you know, like waited for the alcohol to wear off and everything, and then, you know, went home. I think it was me driving. So I'm like, hey, if you want, because I know you live pretty far, you can come crash at my place, and, you know, we can start again tomorrow and do some day drinking. And he's like, yeah, you know what, that sounds cool. And then he was like, hey, thanks for, like, for noticing. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, no problem, I guess, you know, I'm a pretty observant guy. And he's like, yeah, like thanks, you know, like I'm pretty quiet about things. I'm a very quiet person. I don't really, you know, speak out a lot. And then I was just like, oh yeah, no problem, you know. I don't mind talking and stuff. I'm a pretty people person. You know, I was just like, it was just weird the way he was. Dude, I got a headshot on him, man, and he didn't die. Second. So then I was like, yeah, okay, cool. And then, like, whatever. And then he kept going on to it. He, like, kept saying things like that. He's like, yeah, it was cool that you let me come over to your place and stuff, and all these things. And then, once I got to the door, I realized, like, it was just, like, one of those, like, realization moments where I was like, oh, shoot. I think he thinks I brought him to my house to, like, have sex with him, because in that moment, I realized that he was gay, and I was like, oh no. So this is me at 6 in the morning going into the house Idrelis knows. which is a very Christian family. Very, like, they would have had nothing, personally nothing to do with that.